2016 has been an excellent year for Vita games, but also a year with a lot of disappointments. Sony again ignored the Vita at E3 and there were a lot of game cancellations, but the games did keep coming. I wanted to run through the big events of the year month by month. January started off pretty good, where we finally got the release of Volume on Vita. However, it was all downhill after that, with Mighty No. 9 being delayed, Not a Hero on Vita being cancelled, Facebook being removed from Vita, and Square announcing the Dragon Quest builders would not support PS TV. It wasn't a great start to the year, and February had some more bad news, with PS TV being discontinued. But there were a lot of game announcements and release dates revealed of some big games like Yomawari, Night Alone, Downwell, Grand Kingdom and Odin Sphere. Telltale said their games were still coming to Vita, but that didn't happen, and at this point I'm not sure we'll see another Telltale game on Vita. The big news for March was the stealth releases of Civilization Revolution and XCOM. The ports weren't perfect, but XCOM was an amazing game. After keeping us waiting for many months, we finally got release dates for Axiom Verge and Risk of Rain. April had a couple of big games released like Axiom Verge and Severed. Severed got a massive amount of attention and deservedly so. It was an excellent game. May was pretty quiet, Mighty No. 9 got delayed again, and there were a few game announcements like Akiba's Beat, Make-You and Bridge Constructor, but other than that, not a lot happened. June, on the other hand, had some big releases. Odin Sphere, Grand Kingdom, Zero Time Dilemma were all excellent, and Square Enix stealth released Adventures of Mana. We also had game and release date announcements for Dragon Quest Builders, Yomawari, Criminal Girls 2 and Berserk. Of course, June was also the month of E3, when Sony again ignored the Vita, prompting a lot of hate from Vita fans, and the usual comments and articles about the Vita being dead. July was quieter up until the end of the month, but we did get some game announcements, like Garou, Mark of the Wolves and Dungeon Punks. The big news, however, was the Henkaku hack. The hack allowed Vitas to be used to emulate classic consoles like the Super Nintendo or the Game Boy Advance. Given the impact of hacking and emulation had on the PSP, this could have really hurt the Vita if Vita games started to be pirated. But in the end, it didn't seem to have a huge impact. Vita games were not able to be pirated, Sony patched the hack in just a few days, and it was only downloaded around 40,000 times, which isn't much given there are 14 million Vitas out there. We also got the release of Shiren the Wanderer, which is one of my favourite games of the year. In August we had another cancellation with Moon Hunters, which I was really annoyed about. I was looking forward to playing it. Disney announced it would no longer be supporting Disney Infinity. Although Infinity didn't run that well on Vita, it was still a shame knowing that we wouldn't get 3.0. PS Plus got a price rise in North America too. We did have some good news with Lick Spear, Blue Reflection and Valkyrie Azure Revolution all announced. September had one piece of news that really depressed me. Hyperlight Drifter was cancelled for Vita. This was my most anticipated game of the year and it got cancelled. Of course, September wasn't all bad. I had Darkest Dungeon and Skyforce Anniversary to keep me busy. And we got announcements of more games like Shu, Oceanhorn, Chroma Squad and Musu Stars. September was also the month of TGS and Sony gave us 2 new Vita colours which actually looked quite nice. The week of TGS also brought a lot of hate, happiness and confusion. The next Digimon game was announced as PS4 only, and then it was announced as coming to Vita, and then it was clarified that it was indeed PS4 only. October was another big month for games with the world of Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest Builders and Yomawari all released. This and June were for me the 2 best months of Vita games. We also got the announcement of DLC for Darkest Dungeon, which I am very much looking forward to. November was quiet with a couple of games announced. I was most excited to see the special edition Minecraft Vita, which looked pretty cool even though I know I'll never be able to afford to buy one. December was the month of PSX. We got 5 Vita related announcements, which is good, but I was kind of hoping for more. It was disappointing to hear the Patapon collection wasn't coming to Vita. PSX had a playable version of Sultan Sanctuary and the developer announced it will be released in Q1 2017, which I was very pleased to hear after the months and months of waiting. We also had some disappointing news where Trails of Cold Steel 3 was announced as only coming to PS4 after the first 2 had also been on Vita. This was super disappointing to a lot of people. So overall, I think it was a good year for the Vita, and with all the announcements through the year, we've got a lot to look forward to in 2017. But there were some big disappointments too, with cancellations like of Hyperlight Drifter, Moon Hunters and Not a Hero. Vita turns 5 next year in the West. Hopefully Sony will remember and try to celebrate the occasion. On a personal note, 2016 was the year when I really started ramping up in terms of videos on my channel. This isn't something I plan on ever doing full time, but it's something I just enjoy, and I just want to say thank you to all the people that have watched or subscribed to my videos. It really is appreciated. So what were your highlights and disappointments of the year? Leave a comment below, and if you liked the video I'd appreciate a like and a sub. Thanks for watching and hope you have a good New Year's.